Welcome to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley. We are live here at the KHTS studio in beautiful downtown Santa Clarita every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. You could join us from anywhere in the world on Facebook Live or by downloading the KHTS app onto your smartphone. Today, we have an amazing show planned. We have a panel of amazing women, as you can see, all from the Santa Clarita Valley, and we are here to discuss the topic of love, marriage, conflicts, and all the good stuff, intimacy, you name it. So we're going to share intimately about what it's like to be in a relationship that is thriving and that works, and how we do that, what our secrets are, what we've learned, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in because this is such a great topic, and I have such amazing ladies here with me. And I just want to first off thank you guys for coming on to the show today. I mean, it always takes an effort. We all have kids, and so it takes an effort to show up, to make sure that you can, have all your ducks in a row. And Prudence, I know that you work, so it's really, you're doing a lot by taking out the time of your day to be here. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And I also want you to know that you guys are exemplary, whatever that word is.
Exemplary?
Yes, thank you. Because, you guys have really shown through your example of marriage and the relationships that you have and have been maintaining that, just not only to the community around you, but to friends and to your children about what relationship is like to make it thrive. It doesn't mean that it's without any conflict, or it doesn't mean that it's without any flaws ever. That really doesn't exist, But when we come in face to face with conflict, with some of the challenges, how do we move through them in a way that builds more connection rather than disconnection? And that's something that you guys have been doing. So not only that, but also, there are so many people that are struggling in relationship, that are struggling in their marriage, and our divorce rates are still pretty high, generally speaking. So, you guys and, the three of us together, we are an example of getting it right, and so we are really doing our community, our friends, our kids, everyone a service in showing what that model looks like. So we're going to dive into what that is and ask some really great questions about how we work through the dynamic of love and relationships. So starting off, I would just want to introduce Prudence. Prudence is a realtor. She's an amazing friend of mine, actually. And she is a dancer as well. She's a ballet dancer. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yes. Which I think is really something unique and fantastic about her. She's such a great influence, not only for me, but I think also for people all around her. She's a very natural-minded mama like myself. And she cares so much about people, and she's just got a heart so big, so full of love, and so I'm so grateful to have you on. Thank you, Prudence. Thank you. And then we also have Brittany. Brittany is also a really great friend of mine, and also a very big, strong woman, strong mama with a heart of gold as well. And Brittany, she's married to Cardin, who was on the show last week, and Prudence is Jordan's mom. Just kidding. Jordan's wife, who was on the show last week. And so you guys are the opposites of the men that were on the show, which was a great show, by the way. I'm so proud of those men. They had the most amazing answers. If you guys have not heard, if you did not hear that show, it was a great show. And these men just really shared raw and vulnerably and honestly about what it is from their perspective that makes marriage work. So thank you guys, everybody, so much. And Prudence, go ahead and can you just start off by sharing how, maybe something unique about yourself and how long you and Jordan have been together?
Something unique about myself. I think you said it, that I'm a ballet dancer.
Yeah, that is pretty unique.
It's my other life other than real estate. But I have, we have the three boys, age 12, 6, and 3. And Jordan and I actually met on a co-ed softball team.
Ooh.
Yeah, my brother was, it was his team, and my dad was on the team, and I was a single mom trying to date via the bar scene in Los Angeles, and that was just not happening. So I thought I'd try something different, and I met him on the first day. He had just moved from Chicago, and it was his first day on the team as well. And took him about 6 months till he finally asked me out. It was like love at first sight for me. And after 6 months, I was convinced he was not into me, and then he finally asked me out. And as he said, last week, it was really like the rest was history from the first date on. We just knew that we wanted to be together. So
Awesome. I love all that he shared about you. It was so sweet.
So sweet.
And Brittany, how long have you and Carden been together?
We've been together for going on 7 years. We dated for a year, and then we've been married for 6 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. And then also for myself. So let's see. So my husband and I have been married, I honestly don't really keep track. But I think it's 15 years. And we've dated for 4 years before marriage. So that'd be 19, I believe. So, yes. And so I'm going to just go ahead and let's dive right in with our first question.
Let's do it.
And so, Brittany, I'll go ahead and ask you first, and we'll work it this way, okay?
Pressure. Okay.
All right. So, Brittany, what is your husband's greatest asset that he brings to the table?
Okay, so for those that know Carden, I always say you'll hear him before you see him, okay? He's just a very loud, fun guy. So he brings a lot of laughter. Any conflict that we have, any problem that we're going through, he just brings a level of, I guess, humor to it. And it just kind of plays it down. So it doesn't seem like as big of a conflict because he just has this zest for life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. Very good. Okay. And Prudence, what would you say is Jordan's greatest asset that he brings to the table?
I would say, especially in our marriage, his willingness to grow with me together and within our family, to just, really be open and flexible. And then also that he does bring a lot of humor to the table too, and he's just a lot of fun and makes me laugh a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, there's something about laughing, because life can be so serious sometimes, especially as we have conflict and the drama of reality and kids and our lives and the grind and the day-to-day and all of that, and so it's so awesome to have that humor. And I think that that's something that a lot of women say, when I've asked this question in the past to women that I work with, humor is something that does come up a lot. So that's really great. So for me, one of the greatest thing that my husband brings to the table is the way that he can manage his emotions, and that he is really a great father figure, because I came from a background in childhood where my father was abusive and aggressive, and so for me to have found a man that can, because he gets upset sometimes, but he knows he doesn't take it out so harshly on myself or the kids. And to me, that is the greatest thing that he brings to the table for me.
It's great.
Yes. Okay. So, the next question is, I asked this to the men, by the way, this next question. So this is the opposite for us. So what elements of relationship are essential for you to thrive as a wife?
I'll go ahead and answer that. One of the most important things for me to thrive as a wife is self-care. So that means for me to be able to show up as my best self in our relationship, I also need time to pursue the things that I'm interested in, whether that be dance classes or yoga or meditation or even just like a nice hot bath and a glass of wine. Because if I have that time to stay grounded and centered within myself, then it's much easier for me to show up for my husband and for our whole family.
Absolutely. Gosh, I would so agree with that 110%, because it's like, that saying with the oxygen mask, if you have to put it on yourself first, so that before you put it on your child or the people that are depending on you. And it really is like that. We have to nurture ourselves as number one, especially I think when it comes to being the woman, because we are the one that carries so many different hats, and we're good at it. We're naturally better at multitasking and seeing the bigger picture and making sure, all the ducks are following mama duck, and so we have to make sure that we're nurtured and that we ourselves have our time to ourselves, have the time that's important for us, because otherwise that's when we go into exhaustion and overwhelm, and that's when we'll lose it, really. That's when we emotionally, that's kind of a clue in, I want to say, also for men. Like if your wife is emotionally overwhelmed, she probably needs some self-nurturing time. And that would really, really help her. Yeah. So Brittany, what would you say is the essential elements for you?
Well, I had a lot going through my mind. I need a lot of essentials. No.
So do I, don't worry.
But I guess what it comes down to, going off the self-care, I guess I would just say consistent stability. So just, consistently nurturing your wife, or consistently, being stable, like financially, emotionally, just consistency, I guess, is just key, instead of just bursts here or there. I think just steady, constant.
I think Cardin said that about you last week, and he mentioned that you like consistent waterings.
Yes, I did. Yes,
right.
I do. Yeah. Yes. None of these bursts.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So consistency is important for you. Okay. So, and then for me, I would say kind of what you said earlier is the growth mentality, because that is, to me, the number one reason why we're successful in our relationship, is that we have conflicts, but we grow through them. We don't see them as something that is going to tear us apart, or we don't stick so firmly into our perspective. We can empathize and get into the other person's shoes. And for me, to have someone that is willing to grow through conflicts and can willing to not be the one that's like right and I'm wrong all the time, or that kind of thing, is essential for me to thrive, because then everything else is doable. It's everything else. It's like we can solve problems, because when a problem does come up, we can solve it, and we'll solve it together, and we're on the same team. So it really has a lot to do with the teamwork and the willingness to grow.
Yeah. Jess, what's that quote that you always say that's like, out in the field, beyond right or wrong?
Oh, the Rumi's field.
Yes. That's what I was thinking when you were saying that.
I think I've heard you say it. But
okay. So there's something that I tell my clients all the time, and it's a quote by Rumi, the poet Rumi, and it says, and I might not get it exactly right, but it's out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there.
That's right. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and that's really what I think can heal and transcend so many conflicts, because if we tie into the rightness or wrongness of it, then we're really stuck in our own perspective, and we're not going to grow from it. Yeah. Okay, so beautiful. So why don't we go ahead and take our break, because I want to get into, actually, the next bit, I want to get into how we work through conflicts and what are some of the key things that we've learned about our husbands and about marriage that have helped us as tools to manage and go through those conflicts. So you guys are listening to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we'll be right back.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you. We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
It's no secret that heavy-duty cleaning chemicals can be toxic for babies and pets and even adults. Eco Green Clean SEV can put your worries at ease. Eco Green Clean SEV only uses organic, environmentally friendly products, reducing the risk of health issues for any age. Eco Green cleaners use essential oils that lend to aromatherapeutic benefits, and all cleanings are guaranteed. You even get an organic chocolate on your pillow. Local owned and operated by a single mom who started this organic business 5 years ago. For more information or to book a cleaning, call 993-9336.
Hey guys, this is Cardinellis, host of the new show Problem Solver Politics, an independent political talk show that keeps you up to date and in the latest political happenings, both nationally and here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Now, this isn't your usual partisan political talk show. At Problem Solver Politics, we have both Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians hash out their differences on air as we strive to find solutions to today's challenges. Join us Sundays at 7 p.m. for Problem Solver Politics.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean, purebirths.com.
Your hometown station.
As soon as I leave my house in Saugus, I always turn on KHTS for the latest traffic updates.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we are live here at the KHTS studio. I was saying thank you to the board op guy here, so you guys got a little bit of that. But we're here with the women's panel, and we're talking all about relationship, love, marriage, conflicts, intimacy, and what it is that we do to be successful in our marriages. So I've got Prudence and Brittany. And one thing that I didn't say earlier also is that, Brittany, you are also a dancer as well.
I was, yes.
Yes. Well, I think when you're a dancer, you're always a dancer.
Okay, fine. I'll still say I'm a dancer.
This
still
is
say
true.
And I also want to say, just generally speaking, that I think there's something about women and dancing, because I love dancing too. You know, it's like there's something about women and moving their body to music that is just
how you
so like
yourself.
There's a really there's like a soulful connection, at least for me.
Yeah.
You know, that is present there, and I think that you guys are the perfect candidates to agree with that, you know? Yeah, there's something there with that, you know? So women love music, women love dancing.
Well, and we're emotional beings, and it's a way to express your emotions and your feelings. So,
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to get right into how we work through conflict and some of those things. So, Brittany, why don't you start off by answering what are some of, from the woman's perspective is what I'm asking. But from the woman's perspective, what are the conflicts that you face in marriage?
I'd say the biggest conflict would be just, trying to have, like what you were saying with the hats, trying to take care of my kids, but then trying to take care of my husband, and trying, I only have so many hours in the day, and how do I make sure that everyone feels taken care of and loved? And so I think that's a big conflict. Also, my husband, he wears so many hats too, so I feel like we're constantly juggling that. It's almost like our time together comes last when it should be the first priority. And so I think that's just a conflict. It's just making time. And I think you have to literally make time and set aside time. And we try to do weekly dates. It's not always so elaborate. Sometimes it's just at home watching Netflix, but we try to always physically make time for each other. And it's hard. It doesn't always happen.
So you would say that for you, the conflicts are managing or keeping a balance to all the hats.
Yes.
Okay. Prudence.
I would agree with that. Definitely the juggling and the balancing of the hats. Some of the other things that we've dealt with just in our relationship as far as like balancing the roles and what would customarily be, the masculine versus the feminine roles. And Jordan touched on that a little bit last week, but, we had some times in our marriage where he's been laid off, and then, my business, fortunately at that time with him being stay-at-home dad, I was really able to put systems in place in my business that my business was really able to grow, and we haven't really looked back, but, that just kind of trying to navigate that as a couple and what that means, for him to be a stay-at-home dad and still feel like he's fulfilled in his way. And then now that he's, back working and he just got a great promotion, and we're kind of trying to revisit those roles as far as like, okay, well now, what more help do we need possibly as far as, childcare and making those things happen. But yeah, I think that, for us has been an issue, I guess, as far as like trying to find that balance, I would say.
Okay. And then, so for me, I think the challenges that we've faced have to do with, I believe, how I am more of an emotional, in the moment kind of person, and my husband is very more logical, and sometimes like he focuses just on a specific thing, or it's sometimes for me, I think it's just the clash of the feminine and the masculine. A little bit of what you said too is that sometimes brings in conflict, because the way that I'm looking at it through, I'm looking at it through the emotional, like, well-being of the situation of all involved, whether it's about the kids or us or others, that we care about. And I think that he kind of sees it more through a very logical kind of way of interpreting the situation, and how can he fix it, or how can he, what is the next step, that kind of a thing, and so sometimes it's like, well, for me, it's not about a step, it's about just a feeling, like, can you tap into this feeling here, so I would say that's where the biggest clashes come in, so yeah, that's what I would say. What do you guys think about that? Do you run into that as well?
Yeah, I totally feel that. And I feel like Jess and Carden are like the same personality, and I feel like me and Kevin are the same personality, where I can focus on just one thing, and I'm very analytical and logical, and if it's not working, then we need to, cut that away and do something else. And where Carden is like, well, no, I still have a good feeling about this, and let's try another way to, solve it. And sometimes I'm like, no, it's not working, but yeah, so when you were saying that reminded me of Car and I were just opposite.
Yes, and that's something I think that is also our biggest blessing, that we're so opposite. It's like opposites attract, because that's how we can grow the most. If you are married to your exact same person, how boring would that be? I mean, it'd be like, want to do this? Yeah, sure. Okay. Every time, and it'd be like there would bring no spice or no like contrast, it would be a little bit boring, I think. It would also be awesome sometimes, those times where we're just like, can you just see this the way that I can, you know what I mean? But I think most of the time, generally speaking, it's as hard as the conflicts are that come in, we need them, they're essential. It's like we need something to push against, just like a butterfly, when it's emerging from the cocoon. It has to push against the walls of its cocoon to have the strength actually to fly. And if it didn't push against that, then it wouldn't build the muscle that it needed to be able to fly. And I think that all of life is representative of that. And, we're meant to thrive through conflict. So it's just really more a matter of learning how to thrive through conflict rather than running away from it.
Well, I feel like you do go deeper into your relationship by working through those conflicts. You learn a lot about your partner, even after, almost 8 years of marriage. When we have a dispute and we sit down and we really, come at it and really hear and listen to one another, I learn more about him and more about where he's at now, where he's come from, and that growth mentality again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, where you've been through like some of the hardest things in life, it can make you like gold. What did Cardin say the other day?
Galvanizes you.
Galvanizes.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, it's almost like the tough moments, getting through that, it galvanizes and really brings a strength and a solidarity to the relationship. Yeah. And that's the other thing about relationship is just with the growth mindset. It's like, in order for us to actually galvanize through those conflicts, we have to have that mindset, because that's what the commitment allows. The commitment to this person. That you can only find in a committed relationship. If you don't have that commitment, whether by marriage or by other means, then you always have an out when it gets hard.
Yeah.
And if that out is there, and it will get hard,
you'll take it.
Yes, yeah, you'll take it as an option, a much easier option than anything else.
Doing the work. In a lot of cases, to stay, I mean, you're choosing to stay and committed to doing the work. And, for us, it's about the partnership and then also the family unit, we're a family of 5, and looking at what we've created and what we're building together. I mean, it's just the commitment.
Yeah, which is essential. Okay, so that leads into my next question, and that is, what is your secret to getting through the greatest conflicts? How do you do it, Brittany?
What is my secret? I feel like if I had an answer to this, then we would never have conflict. But I guess, secret to get through it. I think it's just having a long-term perspective, just knowing where we want to end up. We want to end up gray and old with our kids visiting with their families, right? That's the end goal. That's paradise, right? So whatever conflict we're going through, I feel like as long as we have that end in sight, I feel like we can get through anything, because it's worth it in the end. So.
Good. Yeah. So staying connected to the intention.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, Prudence.
For us, it's communication, for sure. And again, I know Jordan touched on this last week, but we actually practice the art of counsel, which is, sitting together with no expectations. We have a talking piece, and the person holding it is the one that's talking, and you're not planning what you're going to say next. You're not planning your defense, which was the hardest thing for me to learn, is just really receiving that person and just hearing them out completely from the heart for as long as they are talking and in that space. And that for us has been really great. And also just having that practice means we're carving out the time to have those conversations. And they're usually at night after the kids are in bed, because, anytime you try to have a conversation with the kids around, that's always like the 1 second that they're like, they need you right now. So yeah, for us, it's like at night and just making sure we connect, at least for 10 minutes after the kids are asleep, just kind of catching up. And that keeps us at least on track, on the same page.
All right, perfect. So setting a really strong intention and holding to that, and having really good communication practices. Yes. And for me, I would say probably the biggest piece that would be, if there was a secret, it would be that I'm willing to see the good in my husband, even in the most difficult times, in the times where I might be the most frustrated or the most disappointed, that I can see past that, whatever behavior or the thing that's happening, and see him for who he really is, for who he wants to be, for his innocence and doing the best that he knows at the time, and not getting so hung up on the behavior, but actually just staying focused and seeing the amazing, amazing man that he is, and father and husband and everything. And I think that is really the biggest secret for getting through the conflicts, because then it's not so much about, when I could see that, it's not so much about, I'm right or he's right. It's more about, you're a good person with good intentions, and so am I, and we're both showing up here, and we could solve this. It really helps us to stay on that same team. It's like him and I against the conflict rather than him and I against each other.
Yeah. That is so great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's something that someone told me, and they call it switch your butts. So it's like, instead of saying what is it? I love my husband, but he's so annoying. Mm-hmm. Say, he's so annoying, but I love him.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So not like your physical butt, but like BUT, your butts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that, seeing the good.
Turn it around.
Turn it around.
That's kind of what that is.
And more positivity.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes take a really deep breath in the moment of those.
Yeah.
conflicts, to be able to do all of that.
No, I think that's another huge thing is because, women, I want to admit, I think women in general are more tied to their emotions. So we can, go on emotional high a lot easier than a man can. But either way, whenever we're emotionally triggered, whether it's the man, which sometimes happens, and obviously, like, I was raised in a environment where my father did not have control of his emotions, or whether, whatever that is. So whenever we're emotionally triggered, we have to be able to stop. And I think that's another secret, if there's anything, is to stop engaging in trying to work it out in that moment. Because what we do know about when we're triggered and we're in a big emotion is that we're in fight or flight. Mm-hmm. So we're either looking for a way to run away or to fight. Mm-hmm. And so our mentality is putting the other person, the fight or flight hormone inside of us is putting the other person as our enemy, and we are here to attack, or we see them as enemy and we're running away. Mm-hmm. So we have to be bigger and stronger than the fight or flight hormone and take control of that. And so the only thing that we have to do that is to take space, stop engaging in that conflict, and calm ourselves down. And one of the best ways to do that is by taking breaths, deep breaths, and by seeing the good in them. Mm-hmm. Those two things together.
It takes practice.
Yes, it does.
It's not a one-hit wonder.
Seeing their innocence. Yeah, absolutely. It does take practice. It's a skill which is essential if we're going to thrive in a relationship. Mm-hmm. It's essential because the relationships that are failing don't have that practice, because sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes he's wrong, or we're out of alignment with who we want to be, and for me, I have to calm myself down, or for him, he has to do the same, and just to have willingness to have that, I think is huge. So good point. Thank you, Prudence. Very good. Okay, so then our next question is, what have you learned about your husband that adds success to your marriage? Go ahead, Prudence.
Okay. I would say what I've learned about him that I think I always knew was there, but he maybe said otherwise. But he's actually a much more spiritual person than he lets on to be. And I was always like the spiritual one when we got married. But I think seeing that depth in him and how much he's like really tapped into that I really, really appreciate and helps, when he can see even like you said, the bigger picture, seeing the bigger picture, and then also the energy that he's putting out like around our kids. He's such a great dad. And that just brings so much joy to our relationship.
Awesome.
Okay, so what I've learned that he needs to really feel appreciated and desired. And I think that's something that everyone wants, right? But for him specifically, he really needs that for him to thrive. And then I think it just makes our relationship thrive. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes. Okay.
Feeding his ego a little bit.
All right. It's funny because when you're saying that, I'm like, I could relate to that. I need that too.
I told you and Carden are very similar.
Okay, and so for me, one of the things that I've learned about my husband is that he also thrives on appreciation and noticing the amazing things that he's doing. So, I just about like the love languages. So to really be able to identify what your spouse's love language is and then to nurture that is, I think, essential. Because, when I can give to him and to the relationship, when I want to offer love, I know how to do it in the way that he'll receive it. So for him, it's, and the funny thing is he doesn't say this, he doesn't admit this, but he does value, words of appreciation and affirmation, more than I think he lets on.
Yeah.
Because, and I think all men do, actually. I think that's a strong one for men. Like it's important for men in general to be recognized for the work and the contribution that they do, because they're highly programmed or conditioned to be the provider and the protector, and they use all their amazing skills for those outlets, whereas like we're programmed more for the emotional and the nurturing, and that's where our skills lie, And so everybody, it's not just men that want to be appreciated, but I think specifically it's to honor that in them and to let them know when you see it. And like when he's doing something that I appreciate, to make sure that I know that I let him know about it. That's big. And also quality time. He really thrives on spending quality time with me, more than I realized at first. And I thought that was something that probably I needed more, but especially as the kids came in and everything, I almost sort of neglected our relationship, our quality time together. And I came to learn through, our journey is that was very, very important to him, to have the me and him time that was isolated from the kids. And it has been essential to our relationship and to thriving. And so date nights are a top priority for us, and to have that, because once we started really upping the ante on how often we were going on date nights, a lot of things changed, and just became really, really stronger than I expected them to. Yeah. So I would say that would be the other thing. Okay, so beautiful. The next question then is a very interesting one, and I'm going to save it for after our break.
Ooh.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about physical intimacy and what we do to keep it thriving and alive and passionate and fun. And then we'll go into some of our last question. But so right after the break, you guys are listening to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley. We'll be right back.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
It's no secret that heavy-duty cleaning chemicals can be toxic for babies and pets and even adults. Eco Green Clean SEV can put your worries at ease. Eco Green Clean SEV only uses organic, environmentally friendly products, reducing the risk of health issues for any age. Eco Green cleaners use essential oils that lend to aromatherapeutic benefits, and all cleanings are guaranteed. You even get an organic chocolate on your pillow. Local owned and operated by a single mom who started this organic business 5 years ago. For more information or to book a cleaning, call 993-9336.
This is a Rita's Daybreak. There's a huge crowd at Rita's. With so many amazing flavors, every day's a treat. Let's see what folks are celebrating.
I lost my first tooth. No more training wheels. My dog photo got 37 likes.
3 kids, 3 activities, 0 meltdowns. There you have it. Layer it, blend it, or drink it with Italian ice and creamy custard. So many reasons to celebrate at Rita's. This has been a Rita's Daybreak.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
You're going places, and College of the Canyons can help you get there. Registration is going on now for COC Spring Semester, which begins February 4th. Take classes in Valencia, Canyon Country, or online. Need to update your professional skills? Enroll in COC's free career skills classes, which each take only a week to complete. Visit canyons.edu/class schedule for a full list of spring classes. You're going places with College of the Canyons.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean. purebirths.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we are here live at the KHTS studio, and we've got the women's panel of amazing, extraordinary wives with amazing husbands who are delving into all of the intricate, raw, vulnerable details about our marriages and what makes them thrive, what makes them work. So we already talked a little bit about what are some of the essential elements that are important for us to thrive as a wife in our marriages and in our relationships. And we've also talked about the challenges and the conflicts and what our secrets are for success in that arena. So now we're going to turn to physical intimacy, because this is something that is important to men and women too. I think actually stereotypically it's almost underrated for women. I think that we think that it's not as important for women, but it really is. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, yes, women are perhaps more emotionally driven and men perhaps are more physically driven, but you know, the lines, depending on the personality of the man and the woman and how much feminine or masculine that she has inside of her, and the same for the man, you know, it can really amp that importance up for the person, you know. And I know for me, it's also very important to me to have that. However, I could probably go a lot longer without it than my husband could, you know, but having it present and amazing is also very important to me. So the question then is how do you keep the physical intimacy alive and passionate even after having kids in the house and maybe sleeping in your bed, and also without it becoming a chore, which is something that can tend to be the default, you know, in some relationships. So, you know, how do you keep it alive and passionate without it just going through the motions? Who's up?
All right, I'll answer.
Go for it,
Brittany's answer is probably going to be a little bit more fun than mine. No, I'm the one with the with bed sharing with at least 2 kids right now. So, but definitely making it a priority is important. And the reason we do that is because if we don't have physical intimacy, we start to feel just a total lack of connection overall. And we've said sometimes that we start to feel like roommates, like that we're just sort of coming and going. So having that connection, being creative with the times and location, for us, like I said, with the 2 little ones in bed, but also just to help feed into that. It's never a chore, but just holding hands even and just little moments of affection, I think just helps keep me feeling connected to him, and like I want to keep making the physical intimacy a priority. So that always helps. Like if I'm cooking dinner and he comes up and kisses my neck or something like that, it's always great.
Yes.
That's a good answer, Prudence.
Why,
I don't really
thanks,
know
Brittany.
what else I could say. I guess. Okay, so gotta be real. Sometimes it does feel like a chore to me because he wants it a lot, right? So I feel like when it's those moments where I feel like it's a chore, and he's probably gonna hate me for saying this, but I notice like if I fake it in the beginning, right? If I put on the sexy heels, if I put on the lipstick, if I put on some hot lingerie, right? I feel like I can get myself more in the mood to where then it's fine. It's not a chore anymore, right? And I think that's sometimes where women, they just don't want to take the time sometimes, right? We're busy, we're tired. It's in those moments where you just put on the lipstick, put on the heels, do something where it's no longer a chore feeling.
So where are your kids when you're putting on the heels and the sexy lipstick?
Usually they're asleep. So usually this is at night. So usually they're asleep. Or it's really nice. Mondays, both my kids are in school, and that's Cardin's days off.
Oh.
So that works out perfect.
Well, now we know what you're doing on Mondays.
You can't reach Cardin or Brittany on a Monday.
Don't call him on his day off, customers.
Don't. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
All right, that's exactly when I'm calling.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's awesome.
We only have 2 hours because she has a 2-hour preschool. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's more time than most people have.
Yes. So you can get quite a lot done in 2 hours.
Yes. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to reiterate what you guys have said, so you were saying to have the physical intimacy as something that's happening, to have affection and to get creative with where's your best go-to spot?
The living room.
The living room. Okay. And then Brittany, so you were saying to take the time to get into a state of being where you can get in the mood, because sometimes I think that's something that we face as women is maybe we're not in the mood, and so we have to get into that state of being either by our spouse helping us to get into that state of being or by getting into it ourselves. And I love how you are taking ownership for that and getting into it yourself, because otherwise then it's not going to happen, and women don't necessarily enjoy it unless they're into it, you know. A little bit different from men. I've heard that they can enjoy it regardless or not, you know, and so I think that's a little bit different. And then for me, I would say that, also making sure that I am getting into that state as well, you know. So for me, I have to tap into myself. I have to tap into the energy that turns me on myself in order to really enjoy the exchange with my husband, you know. So for me to be even physically attracted to myself, for me to feel the desire and the attraction and all of that for myself, as you know, but prior going through it, all of that, you know, to really take ownership also for that rather than being needy of it coming from my spouse. And I think that's unique, and it sets it apart, because then I'm in control of whether or not it's good or not, you know. So that's where I bring the passion. As far as with kids, I would say, you know, just making sure that we have our regular date nights, because that's when it happens. It doesn't. It happens when the kids are out of the house at my mom's, and we do it on those nights, and they're again essential, you know. And we also, you know, sneak it in here and there other times as well, but it's when the kids are definitely in bed and the door is locked. You know, one of the things I might suggest for you is to maybe I don't know if they're ready for this, but to maybe just have them go to sleep there and let them know that they can sleep with you later, and you'll bring them into your room later and have them fall asleep in a different room. I know that that's something that we did before in the past. So thank you guys for coming onto the show. We had such a great time. This is Thriving Relationships, and we will be back next week at 2:00.